The Federal Reserve is set to stand pat on rates this week amid Iran conflict. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, got a lot of news to go over today. Stay with me to the end. Okay, we got some important updates on Intel, SanDisk, Micron Technologies, the Straits of Hormuz, you name it. You know, I go over the geopolitical news every day, and it's important to follow my news because we got a lot of things going on right now behind the scenes. You know, you guys aren't aware of all this geopolitical stuff that's transpiring. And of course, over the weekend we saw, the event, with President Trump. So people, okay, we got to pray for our president for real, and he's working, doing the best he can to make America great again. I'm for whoever is in office, okay, I'm for them. If it wasn't for President Trump, we would all be speaking Mandarin Chinese or Russian, or, he's doing the best he can. We need to back the play of our president and stop all this nonsense. And so, a lot of news today, and we got to really tighten up, people. Okay, things are getting real. It seems like it's the leftists are trying all this awful behavior. And again, I'm apolitical. I don't take a side. The world is so polarized today, it's not good. What team are you on? You on the left? You on the right? I'm on everyone's team. We should get along and back the play. President Trump is our only salvation, in a sense, to be able to survive as a nation. And we need to do everything we can, again, to back the play of our loving president. So, all right, I got that out of my system. But let's look at the news headlines today. Stocks slip as higher oil prices spur inflation concerns. All right, higher oil. The Straits of Hormuz are still shut down. Iran diplomacy in Islamabad with Pakistan. Okay, Iran offers to reopen the Strait of Hormuz if the U.S. lifts its blockade and the war ends. So this is on one side, so we got this going on. U.S. stocks edge back from their record as oil prices are going up. United Airlines says American Airlines will be good for travelers. A lot of news, Intel. So let's take a look at these markets real quick. S&P's kind of flat. Crude oil's up about 2% to 96.26. The VIX is dipping to 18.57. Gold is peeling off about 1% to 46.89. Precious metals trade is still on. Silver bullion has got the greatest positive weighted alpha. So I've been selling some of my bags of silver. So this is what we got. Darden Restaurants earnings. The Magnificent Seven, we got earnings week. A lot of dividend aristocrats. Netflix, a $25 billion reason to purchase Netflix stock. I'm watching Netflix all the time. They're great. Intel stock surges 130%. You heard it here first, folks, on my channel. I want to say hi to all my followers on Twitter, on X. It seems like it's a little more open with the communication on X. Amazon is doing awesome. Intel, all of my subs, I'm getting a lot of traction on my channel. A lot of my videos now are starting to go viral. And so with that, I want to welcome, hey everyone, okay, on Twitter. I'm going to cap off my Twitter feed and subs to 100,000 Twitter followers. So you want to subscribe now to my Twitter, because after 100,000 subs, I'm going to shut it down. I also publish videos on Rumble too, but Amazon, and I'll tell you too, YouTube is amazing. The SpaceX IPO, man. So we got news on SpaceX. Look at the stocks that are active. Everything's about the stock market. Nvdia, Micron Technologies, breakout. Tesla is off about 1%. AMD is off about 4%. Intel pumping, huge volume on Intel. SanDisk, again, up about 7%. Mr. Softy active. Amazon doing awesome. Google is amazing, thanks Google. And Taiwan Semiconductor. Now this aluminum market, you can hear my chair creaking, I know. I gotta put some oil on my chair. But aluminum prices have been soaring. This stock is up 230%. It Constellium, the stock symbol CSTM, a breakout up 230%. So this is what we have, folks, on bar chart. Then I look at Yahoo Finance and look at the news there. OpenAI, stock slip ahead of earnings bonanza. An Iran peace deal. So what are we going to do? We got the art of the deal. So we got a lot of things going on. You know, today is Monday, April 27th, 2026. I say this every day on my videos, so I give you the date. Some people will produce videos at another time and then they forward them, you know, at a different time. But this is today on 4/27 of 2026. So, man, a lot of news, geopolitics. So I don't run commercials on my channel, but I am an author and I do affiliate marketing. So you can check out my ebook. I'll put the link below. It's titled The AI Advantage, Your Blueprint to Mastering Transformative Tools and Earning a High Income Future with the Artificial Intelligence. So the AI revolution is here. Now, I'm considered one of the world's leading experts in AI, the artificial intelligence, if not the world's leading expert. And I recently penned an ebook that you can read. And here's a question. Will you get left behind or will you become wealthy with the AI? You know, the saying is you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to people who know how to use the AI. So that's the reason. Check out the links below on the AI Advantage, Mastering Transformative Tools. You can read it for free on Amazon Kindle. So I really appreciate it. So that helps pay the bills, you know, and so that's what we have there on AI, the artificial intelligence. Now, if you stay with me to the end, I go over my trading plan and speculation plan. I cover Forex, the yen, the euro, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Pepe, you know, Doge, the Dogecoin. I go over trending stocks. And I have to say this too, I'm not a financial advisor. I was a financial advisor years ago, you know, and so now what I do is I give myself financial advice and then I take my own financial advice. So just make sure you read the risk disclaimer. It goes for my entire channel. It's just information. That's all, folks. So the Fed, they're not going to, you got the new Jerome Powell, Warsh coming on board here soon enough. Stock slip. Microsoft, OpenAI, rewrite partnership deal. So we got things going on there shifting with Mr. Softy. So Trump, I'm reading this on Yahoo Finance. Trump says Iran has days left, the quote is, before it has to halt oil production. So, man, Google staff urged chief executive to block U.S. military AI use. So we got news on Google. Google's amazing. China blocks Meta, Facebook's acquisition of AI startup Manus, M-A-N-U-S. So news on Manus in China. Intel. You know, I was talking about Intel all the last couple months. I was becoming active, closing above 50 and 55 and 60. Then we get the earnings breakout, ba-boom. Intel up huge. How high can Intel stock go? The answer is unlimited. What about Micron Technologies and SanDisk? So we got the rise of the AI, the artificial intelligence. Some are saying that's, you know, the quote is it's the rise of the machines. Shell, big news on Shell. Shell agrees to buy Canada's ARC Resources for $13.6 billion. A lot of M&A in the oil industry and energy. American Airlines to sell just about $1 billion in bonds for 32 planes. So they go into debt to purchase airplanes, I guess, from Boeing and the likes of such. So Apple, Google crushed California bill that helps smaller rivals. So it could be antitrust stuff going on there with Apple. Google's amazing though. So they allow a lot of competition though. Google gets pointers from EU regulation on helping AI rivals access services. Google's amazing. Nickel in commodities. I'm not a commodity trading advisor. Nickel rises to a 2-year high as supplies from Indonesia tighten. So there's a supply chain, a supply shortage of nickel. So the metals trade is still on metals and with the Ukraine. And so a lot of these metals are important for the AI and data centers. Mortgage lenders, best rates. Gold edges lower as attempts to restart U.S.-Iran talks falter. See what I do, this process, I read the news every day to myself on my news desk, and I'm a proprietary trader for myself, and then I put trades on for myself, and the buck stops with me. So, I have to, in order to remain relevant, I read the news on the socioeconomics, what stocks are moving and shaking, what are the trending tickers. Bitcoin, I had a nice trade this weekend on Bitcoin, bought the dip on Bitcoin, it pumped 2,000 points. I had 3 trades that I purchased on the retracement and then pumps up. I netted probably 4,000 or 5,000 points on Bitcoin over the weekend, and now I'm buying the dip again on Bitcoin. Ethereum looks oversold technically, so we shall see. But more on that later. Stay with me to the end, and I give you free alpha. So I don't run commercials on my channel, and then I'll push this out onto Twitter too. And again, hey everyone on Twitter, you've been with me since 2011, and I'm getting a lot of new subscribers on Twitter. Fox Business Network, Charles Payne has owned Apple stock for more than 30 years. Wow, got an itch on my ear. Microsoft facing UK antitrust lawsuit from Slack over Teams bundling. So we shall see. Tech stocks, Qualcomm soars. Microsoft and OpenAI amend deal with big tech earnings. This is the earnings season, folks. A lot of volatility, the VIX, Nvdia, Qualcomm, Microsoft, Qualcomm, oh my goodness. Intel breakout. MicroStrategy, news on it. MicroStrategy purchases $255 million more dollars worth of Bitcoin as it trades. Okay, so the news on MicroStrategy, some have described MicroStrategy, they're using old school analog finance by issuing debt and then with very low interest and then rolling the debt and then now issuing equity. And then the Bitcoin that they purchase is not collateralized. So it's very interesting technique. And so they've seen some competition. And so it's obviously beholden to the price of Bitcoin. And then, unlike collateralized mortgage obligations or CMOs, the Bitcoin is not collateral for the finance process that MicroStrategy is performing. So fascinating process. Google, Meta, Microsoft, Apple earnings, the Magnificent Seven, what to expect. So this is what we have. I read this every day on my channel. Give me a like, give me a share. And I also got some new Patreon supporters, which I'm very thankful. And I also am taking that, and then I'm designing new thumbnails, and so you're seeing my new thumbnails. My viewers seem to really like those, so I'm producing the thumbnails, and that's getting a lot of traction. Like I said, a lot of my videos are going viral. So I look at every day how I can make my channel slightly better. So here's the top gainers on stocks. Maine, M-A-N-E, Verdynamics, if I'm pronouncing that right. Organon at OGN, Maine, M-A-N-E, is up 34%. OGN up 17%. X Energy up 15%. Orkla Therapeutics up 16%. And Catalyst Pharmaceuticals up 10%. So I look at the biggest percentage gainers and losers and to see, okay, how can I monetize? As you guys know, I called the short on that parabola on Avis Rent-A-Car, CAR, the stock went parabolic, up 7%. I thought it was a little long in the tooth and was looking at selling calls, and then the stock craters. So you always want to sell the parabola, folks, on the short squeeze. So we shall see. The top losers, Max Linear off 14%, Applied, the stock symbol is AAOI, off 10%, Domino's Pizza off 10%, Xanadu Quantum off 10%. Been active on Xanadu. Now, that's a percentage losers, so I look at selling puts on those and then selling calls on the percentage gainers and to see how I can monetize these trades. I also maintain a long-term portfolio. There's a great book too called The Gone Fishing Portfolio. It's conservative. It's like a 70-30 or 60-40 type fund that uses just ETFs in stocks and bonds and gold stocks and what have you. It performs great. I rebalance it once a year, and I buy low and sell high, and then reallocate the portfolio into its proper perspective. That way I can go fishing or gone fishing. So I do daily trades on my trading desk for option premium income type of thing. I like to sell options as a writer of options rather than a buyer, because they tend to, the people who write options like me, they exercise about 90% of the time in my favor. So the buyers of options, they tend to lose the other side. So even the daily options, Nvdia breaking out. Intel, now here's the most active stocks. Intel, guys, Intel, man, look at this. I'll move the camera around here. Intel's pumping up to 83.82. Organon up 17%. Nokia again up 3%. And Nvdia, nice breakout, up about up 4.5 points to 212.59. And then Tesla's active after the earnings. So the quote here I'm reading, it says, Elon Musk, here's a quote, I'm just a messenger on this. It says that America 100% will go bankrupt due to debt. Here's what he claims can save the country. Is Elon Musk going to save the planet, save the world, saying that they're going to produce Nvdia type chips or computer chips on satellites in outer space to run the AI? Makes a lot of sense. We got, in outer space, you got -200-300 degrees at least, so it's cold, so there's no heat problems. If you run an ASIC miner here for Bitcoin or a data center on the planet in Texas or in the Arctic, anyway, it produces a heat process, so that has to be cooled. But in outer space, there's no heat problems because it's chilled cold, freezing cold. And then they can produce solar panels that point at the sun at all times, so they get free electricity. So that's new with the data centers that are going to be in outer space, rather than all this build out on the surface of the planet Earth. So it's kind of far out there, but that's where it's going, folks. Tesla, Nvdia breaking out. Nvdia showing, was that a new high for Nvdia? My goodness. So, my goodness, I read the news every day to myself, and I'm so excited. I say this every day. I give thanks for my abundant supply now manifest, that I have it now. So that's what we have. I'm so excited. It's so much to be thankful for today. I'm a multi-billionaire, and I'm going to keep it that way. And so I'll move the camera over here, kind of readjust it. So I look at the news every day, get dialed in, and my videos are unedited. Right now I'm running about 20 minutes, just a short video. So, my goodness. So that's on, my goodness, this news is something else. Of course, every day I check the weather, and I work with the greatest computer scientist on the planet, along with myself, and we co-designed and built and engineered and programmed this agentic AI app that I use to check the weather every day. We got some rain over the weekend here in North Florida, so thankful. But I use weathermist.com every day to check the weather. It's agentic AI meets meteorology. There's no latency, so it gives up to the minute weather prognostication instead of looking at historic data. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. So Weather Mist is an innovation on weather, and weather affects 8 billion people on the planet. So it's 80 degrees here in North Florida. Feels like 85 degrees. I'm reading this from my weathermist.com app. Humidity's 59%. It feels like 85 degrees. 9-mile-an-hour winds. 7.4 UV index, and no rain forecasted. Now, AI Alert, the artificial intelligence on weathermist.com, says there's low risk on weather. Stay hydrated and wear sunscreen if you're spending any time outdoors. So that's on weathermist.com. I use it every day. And so that's what we have. We've seen tornadoes out in Kansas and Oklahoma. And so we got to use weather mist every day to remain relevant using the AI, the artificial intelligence, agentic AI to forecast weather with no latency. So I know you can hear the mouse clicking. I sold Bitcoin over this yesterday afternoon, bought the dippy dip, several times there at, 77,000, and then at 77,000, lower, and then it pumped, and I sold it, trade history, I sold Bitcoin up at 79,000 that I purchased it in the low 77,000. And now I reset the trades at the pivot points, and I let Bitcoin come to me at the pivot points. So I bought the dippy dip this morning to give you some transparency on Bitcoin at 77,299, and then bought the dip further at 76,899. So I'm buying the dip and have limit orders out there at 76,258. So I do negative progression. I buy the dip and then purchase more at the pivot points. So that helps keep me in Bitcoin. Livermore said it best, like you won't know a market until you're in it. So I'm always in Bitcoin since 2013, plus Ethereum and XRP and Solana. So I own ETH and then Solana, and then looking at XRP is off about 3%. Zcash is active, the Doge Doggy Coin, Old Stinky Link, Aave is active, Pepe, Shiba Inu is active, Bonk, Dog with Hat, Uni, Penguin, Pudgy Penguins, I'm pudgy. I'm doing a water fast yesterday and today, so I haven't eaten any food today. So I do water fasting every Sunday and Monday. I do a 48 water fast. That way I don't turn into a pudgy penguin. And then I also do IF, intermittent fasting, and then also carnivore diet. And so with all that, plus I'm an active cyclist, I ride cycling every day. So just give an idea, on my weight management and everything. So that's what we have today, folks. I looked at the geopolitics, look at the stock market, and so let's look at CNN real quick, just to look at the left. CNN is reporting press dinner SHOOTING suspect expected to be arraigned in court today. DeSantis provides new U.S. housing map for Florida, aiming to flip 4 seats for Republicans. So I'm here in North Florida and following the news for DeSantis. The White House will discuss security protocol this week as investigators examine. So we got news, obviously with the Secret Service and then President Trump and, the incident that happened at the correspondent dinner. King Charles and Queen Camilla scheduled on the first day of their U.S. visit. So we've got, Fall the Queen. So the monarchy is here with King Charles. I'll try to do my best British accent. Severe storm outbreak builds toward dangerous peak today. Tornadoes spotted in northern Oklahoma. Guys, if you're in northern Oklahoma, you got to use weathermist.com. Elon Musk and Sam Altman are about to face off in court. An impartial jury, even possible? So it's a battle of the titans. OpenAI versus X and Twitter. We shall see. So this is on the left being reported. Today's headlines, a lot of news on the left. High stakes relationship between President Clinton and FBI Director Louis Freeh. So we got news there, and Kash Patel, and so all these elected officials, man, it's tough being a public servant. So let's look at Fox News. Look on the right here. News on Charlie Kirk. Happening now. Leavitt holds first briefing since White House correspondent dinner event. Trump meets in the Situation Room as Rubio flags major roadblock after Iran pitches New Deal to end the war. It's on again, off again. Peace in the Middle East and the Straits of Hormuz. So this allows me to get dialed in on the news. What's happening on the left? What's happening on the right? How can I survive? And as the world's leading expert in the AI, the artificial intelligence, like I said, I publish ebooks that you guys can read for free. Check out the links. Tell me what you think. Obama sets, internet with reaction to the DC dinner. So we got news with President Obama. Bubba Wallace triggers massive NASCAR wreck. My goodness. NASA, news on that. And news with Jimmy Kimmel. Social media posts, boy, Melania Trump and then Jimmy Kimmel are having a social outing, on social media. So it's the art of the deal, people. Trump is amazing. My goodness. What can I say? Let's look at BBC. I'm going to do, Monday I run longer videos because I try to look at all the news sources to see the week. It's earnings week. On BBC is reporting, White House says Trump stands by Secret Service as SHOOTING suspect, again, is due in court today. So Melania Trump urges ABC to take a stand on Jimmy Kimmel after widow joke. So things are heating up, man, on the political front. Trump and the king have meetings, and Russian fighters confirm withdrawal from northern city after separatists. Kenya news there. So BBC, if you want to know what's going on here in the U.S., read the BBC. If you want to know what's going on at the United Kingdom, in the city of London type of thing, read CNN and Fox. I even read Al Jazeera too. Read their news, is great coverage. Let's read Al Jazeera. So, is the Straits of Hormuz going to open? Is it going to remain closed? Billions of people rely on fertilizers that travel through the Strait of Hormuz. Countries again like Egypt and Bangladesh, they import all their food, and so that we could start seeing fuel shortages. Russia's not producing or pumping oil to Europe, and then also Bangladesh and their food needs. They import all their food. Al Jazeera is reporting Iran says U.S. wants talks because, and the quote is, not a single war goal is achieved. So it's banter, and we got political correctness combined with the fog of war and propaganda. So looking on each side, Iran offers Hormuz deal without nuke talks as seeks broader buy-in. On again, off again. Congo to establish U.S. paramilitary guard for mines. So Congo, news in the Congo. So this is what we have, folks. Bitcoin trading wallets now at 76,700. Has a dippy dip, a couple thousand points. What price, tell me what you think, what price is Bitcoin going to? Bitcoin's only worth, what someone's willing to pay for it. So you tell me what you think. Your opinion matters most, and so I look at the news. My videos, like I said, on Monday, it's unedited, but I run longer on Monday, doing my own research, and then I dovetail then into my trading plan. So let's look at Yahoo Finance again, and look at the stock market. Robinhood, everything's good in the hood. I mean, I know you can hear the mouse clicking, but I already did, it's around 1 p.m. today on Monday, the 27th, but I've already done some other trades today. Bitcoin again's off 3%, so I'll buy the dip today on Bitcoin. I DCA Bitcoin every day, a small amount, relative to my appetite for such. Yahoo Finance. Now let's look at these stocks. All right, they're the greatest gainers and losers. And then look at the option montage. Gone over Bitcoin already. So DCA Bitcoin today. Got limit orders, let the market come to me. I got ETH, XRP, Solana, Pepe, the Dogecoin. So let's look at the trending tickers. Again, Bitcoin, Snapcrap or Snapchat is up about 9%, catching a bid. Domino's Pizza, Poet Technologies off 50%. Talked about that the other day, just like with selling calls on car, on Avis rental cars. So let's look at car first. Avis rental cars. Avis Budget Group. Avis Budget Group, all right, is off today at the open around 10 a.m., off about 10%, trying to, pivot back up again. Now let's look at these other stock shares. Is it time to sell a put now on Avis Rent-A-Car? Snapcrap, or Snapchat. Snap Inc., not Snap-on, but Snap. Snap is up 10%, catching a bid. They're based in Santa Monica, so if you're California dreaming. Snap Inc. is a technology company. I do my own research live here on my trading desk. Provisional and visual messaging app that was created to help people communicate through short videos and images. It was founded by Frank Reginald Brown and Evan Thomas Spiegel and Robert C. They got 5,000 employees, negative PE ratio. Market cap though is 10 billion. So the stock's doing a breakout. They announced layoffs, and now the stock pivoted off nicely at $5.48 back on 23 April. And so now, is it time? Here's the question. Is it time to sell covered calls to do a buy right to purchase stock shares in Snap Inc. and then sell the call? So I look at the option montage. Call options, just out of the money calls, a 650, $6.50 strike is up 160%. Volumes active. High trade today is 15 cents. Previous close was 5 cents. Might be time to purchase, to go long shares on Snap, do a covered call. I'm just doing my own research for myself. It's not financial advice. And then look at the puts and then purchase a way out of the money put as a hedge. So the liquidity on the $5 puts. Decent volume, not much open interest is there. So I'd look at the 550 put, a little further out of the money, 3 cent bid, 4 cent offer. So, I might sell the call and then purchase a put and then do a covered call on Snapchat. I love selling on the breakouts, sell the call, purchase a stock and then sell the call on these huge pumps and then purchase underneath the market a hedge. So Snap is in play. So we got Snap there. Now let's look at some of these other stocks that are trending. Domino's Pizza off 10%. DPZ. Is it time to sell put on DPZ? And you got Papa John. They purchased Bitcoin with Papa John pizzas, right? But Domino's Pizza is different. Trade DPZ options. Let's look at it. Domino's Pizza is off today. It's been a meme stock in Ann Arbor, Michigan. They're up there near Kellogg's. Trade the options. Look at this here. So the stock dips 10%, put options out of the money, up 130, 150%. So might be time to, sell some puts on Domino's. We shall see. Poet. I mentioned Poet the last couple days. POET. Poet Technologies. Huge pump and then down the dump. So is it time to sell some puts today on Poet Technologies, stock symbol POET. So let's look at the option montage on it. This is me on my trading desk. I speak trader speak, so if you're new to trading or you're old school, you'll know what I'm talking about. But if not, you can learn. Okay, the option montage on Poet, stock's down 49.24%. Last trade at 7.67. So looking at the puts, the $7.50 put just out of the money is up 1,800%. So it might be time to sell a put on Poet Technologies. The high is 70 cents. So I might sell a put and then look underneath the market. That put premium again is up 1,800%. And then looking at something underneath the market like the $5 strike. Bid 3 cents, offered 4 cents. That could be a decent trade too on Poet Technologies. Last week on the parabola like this, selling the calls, purchasing the calls back, and now reversing and then selling puts in order to pull in premium. Poet Technologies. So this is me on my trading desk. I know it's Verizon, VZ, looking at Verizon, active. VZ, stock shares, man. Verizon active, up 4% in pre-market. What's going on with Verizon? It's trending. Time to sell some calls on Verizon to do a buy rate. So I'll look at the option premium there. Actively traded stock and large market cap. $204 billion in market cap for Verizon, pays a dividend, conservative PE. I don't look at PE ratios. I tend to look at book value. Top gainers, Maine, MANE, might sell some calls there. Buy the stock, sell the call. if available. Oracle Therapeutics, Organon, been in the news. X Energy, I don't know if there's options there. Beam Therapeutics, and then Max Linear, top loser, off 14%. Stock symbol ERAS off 10%. Applied stock, Opticomics or something, can't pronounce them. A lot of these stocks I can't even pronounce. Domino's Pizza, DPZ, we went over that. And then AXT is off about 7%. So, again, active stock shares. It's repetitive, there's nothing new under the sun. So I go over this news over and over again and see how can I monetize these shares. Intel, pulling a dippy dip after the pump. Organon, nice, up. Nvdia on the breakout, never too high to buy. Nokia, very active. Nokia, no one spends more money on R&D than Nokia or Nokia. And then Tesla, we got Tesla active. So this is me just going over. I'm running about 41 minutes, but I do, I do my own research. The buck stops here with me. In order to survive and thrive in this environment, I gotta be on top of my game to be a time multi-billionaire, and then to look at these shares. Solana's off. So go over my trading plan, be writing some calls, selling some puts, putting some credit spreads on, and then also a dollar cost average Bitcoin today on the dippy dip. SPY ETF, trade it on the DCA, the blockchain ETF, dollar cost it. BKCH, dollar cost average block, BLOK. So that's what I have, So that's all we have, folks, today. Like and share. Tell me what you think. I'm going to be producing a custom designed thumbnail today. And I go over, every once in a while, I go over my YouTube channel stats. So it's just incredible how great YouTube is. And looking at my stats, it's like a homework assignment. How am I performing on YouTube? So I'll give you guys some transparency to this. It's really doing great. I'm a little sluggish today because it's the second day of my water fast. So all I drink today and have is electrolytes. Take three half scoops of this a day and hydrate. And then this evening I'll break fast at 6 o'clock. So I started getting a little lethargy as all of that glycogen and gets consumed, and I go into ketosis. Then I also consume creatine. Take 3 scoops of this a day. It helps maintain the blood sugar and is great for muscle support and brain health. So I got that. Plus, I take this product too, give you an update. It's called methylene blue. I take 1 drop of this every day. This is for super brain strength. So that tonic, again, creatine, 3 scoops a day, electrolyte, non-paid endorsement, and then methylene blue, scoop of 1 micro drop of this. You see that product? Amazing. Take that. I also take a Lodi. If you have any arthritis, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't give medical advice. This product is amazing, a Lodi. It contains sea moss, black seed oil, which is supposed to heal everything, ashwagandha, and burdock root. This thing, flexibility. If you know anyone with chronic fatigue or arthritis, not medical advice, but check out a Lodi. And then during the weekends, I take 3 of these, the vitamin D with a K2 so that it's absorbed and that it's bioavailable. I increase the vitamin D over the weekend and then drop back down to 1 capsule during the week. And then in order to maintain the blood sugar, I take this product called Advanced Blood Sugar Support. It provides nutrient metabolism, antioxidant support, blood sugar support. It's from the Vitamin Shop. They do great work. Non-paid endorsement. This product contains chromium picolinate, berberine HCI or HCl, organic Ceylon cinnamon, and alpha lipoic acid, if I'm pronouncing that right. So this helps maintain the sugars. Plus I do water fasting twice a week, 48 hours, intermittent fasting, where I don't eat. I have an eating window between 3 and 8 p.m. And then I also do the carnivore diet. So I don't eat any carbohydrates. I just consume ribeye steaks and New York strips and bison, buffalo, elk. Elk is good too. Hamburger, as long as it's organic and grass-fed and grass finished, and ghee. So I don't eat anything else on the, also bacon. I'll eat 4 eggs scrambled, fry 4 strips of bacon, and then scramble my eggs in all the bacon grease and eat it. And you see it gets me all leaned up as I go into ketosis. So that's my research that I do for myself, so I get dialed in. And man, we got XRP dipping. I like the dip. XRP, I run an algorithm or formula here that's run on the AI, and it, soon enough has recognized a retracement on XRP. So I'm buying the dip on Ripple, and then buying the dip on ETH, and then buying the dip on Bitcoin. So that's all I have. Running 46 minutes, I might run an hour. So like and share, tell me what you think. Again, Twitter, Rumble, and all of these great channels and everything. And I want to welcome all my subs and everything. You guys are amazing. I say this again, I give thanks, for my abundant supply that's now manifested. I've had just some great weeks here recently with my trades and speculations. And so again, the buck stops here. I got to be on top of my game and think and get into that carnivore, like the eye of the tiger type of vibe. So that's what we have, folks. My goodness. A lot of news. Wars, rumors of wars. Is it end times? Is the book of Revelation playing out? The book of Daniel? The book of Revelation? Book of Matthew? DCA Gala SHOOTING remains under investigation. So, big Iran news. It says here Pentagon drops a bombshell. Big Iran move. So we shall see what happens there. So that's what I look at the news here. I'm just going over the news every day. So Cuba, news on Cuba. Cuba is next. Is this going to be war with Cuba? They're having all kinds of challenges in Cuba with their energy shortage. Cuba has a lot of sugar and cigars. We knew that with Castro and all that. So is Cuba next? We had Venezuela with the oil, and then Saudi Arabia, and then the oil blockade and naval blockades and things, and shutting the Strait of Hormuz down. So, well, I'll tell you, a lot of processes going on here. So that's what we have, everyone. I know it's repetitive, getting a little tired. I'm going to break fast here in about 4 hours. So with that, everyone, have a super awesome, great day. And remember to give thanks for your abundant supply now manifested, and make sure that you have it now. Thanks, everyone.